Hi everyone, welcome to the second episode of the Helsinki Photo Talks. Today we have three artists from all around the world with us. We have Carlotta Mariën from Belgium, Jooeun Bay, I'm sorry if I didn't pronounce it correctly, from Korea, and then we have Carlotta Guerra from Italy, but you're currently in Los Angeles. So I'm going to start with some more about the festival. So our festival has been running from the 7th of July, and we're in our last week now. During this time, we had numerous outside exhibitions that were open freely for a very big public. And we also organized some educational events, such as a Nordic seminar, and then previously the diplomatic sessions. And because those were received very positively, we decided to keep going under the name of Helsinki Photo Talks. Today we have you three here with us. Thank you for joining us. I hope you're all doing very good. And we're going to start with Charlotte from Belgium.
Hi.
Hi, how are you?
Good, you.
Yes, very good. So your work is called Obscurances.
Yes.
It's a very intriguing work. I'm
Thank
very
you.
looking forward to seeing your presentation. So if you can share your screen. And once it's up there, then you can get started on it. Yes. All right.
Okay, so hi everyone. I'm Charlotte. I'm from Belgium, Leuven. I'm very happy I have this opportunity to show some of my work and talk a little bit about it with you. For me, photography is all about experimentation. I love how the camera is able to catch things we cannot see with our eyes. I love this paradox where real elements lead to surreal pictures without the use of Photoshop. When I saw the open call for Helsinki Photo Festival, I was very eager to participate because I have anxiety disorder myself, and for me it is very interesting to show you my look on fear and fearless. I immediately thought of my series Obscurances I made in 2019. Obscurances is a word I made of myself. It's actually the merger of the words obscure and occurrences. I made a little definition there. It's also the title also refers to the camera obscura. It's the most simple form of photography, the original form, and it really reminds me that photography is actually playing with light. And I really wanted to celebrate it playing with light in my series. So I used unusual light sources and reflections and distortions to make my images. The series is about a fictional character that goes through some overwhelming circumstances and cannot do anything about it. It just has to go with the flow and see how the journey goes. A lot of my pictures are taken at night. For me, it's something I really do often. It's a place where I feel really inspired, and especially with the lights and the shadows. And it's really a moment where my imagination goes in overdrive. Sometimes people ask me where I get my ideas. I actually take a lot of walks and drives through my neighborhood and really get inspired by the environments I see, by things that I see, and I start thinking, how can I work with that? What can I do to use that in my series? How can I push this even a little bit farther? And then I start working and experimenting to make my pictures. And then for me, it's really important to underline that although the series is taken at night, and yes, it is in black and white. It's really not intended to be a dark series. For me, it is actually a lot about playfulness and humor in it, and for me that is really important to underline, because that's also my take on fear. I don't believe in living fearless, for me especially. I believe everybody has fear. I also believe fear is actually a good emotion. For me, fearless means that you live with fear, but you don't let your life be affected by it, or your decisions affected by it, and still see playfulness and humor through the journey you do with the fear. So that was my little presentation. Hello?
Yes, sorry, we had some difficulty getting me back on. Well, thank you for shortly introducing your work with us. I found your pictures, like you described them, they're not only dark, like I like that you highlighted the fact that they were also playful, and even a bit humorous, especially the picture you were showing at the end where your character is standing on the ledge.
Yes.
Yeah. Because when I saw it first, I thought it was like floating.
Yes, he actually is a little bit floating. He jumped off the window and then
Really?
took the picture. So it's really also really fun to make the pictures. That's why for me, it's really not dark, not what I intended, and also not with taking it. It's really fun, actually.
And who is your model? Is it a person that you're close with?
Yes, it's actually my boyfriend. He's an easy victim to use. So
Okay, you go out on nightly adventures to take some pictures then.
yes, yes.
I was wondering, you were saying about that you wanted to play with light.
Yes.
And I was wondering what your light sources are that you use, and how you created like the very special effects, like that it's like a beam or like this whole reflection. I think you were talking a little bit about it, but I was wondering whether you could elaborate a bit more on the techniques
Yes,
you used.
yes, it's a variety of things. I don't have a lot of patience, so I use my flash a lot, and I like to flash on things. So the first picture you saw, where he has like the light beam in front of him, we were outside, and I saw there was like an iron wire, and I really flashed on it so it looked like a light beam, because the light reflects back to the camera. And yeah, I like that effect, that it's like coming from his eyes or something. So yeah, I don't use a lot of light, but I use one light and try to really reflect on surface. Or also what I really like to do is shoot through surface, through windows, or I have one picture, I didn't show it in my presentation, that you see a hand, and there after it you have like nature. That's actually my hand through some glass you see. And I like that you have two images in one by shooting through something. And it's really different methods, and yeah, it's just playing with it.
Yeah. Okay. So are your pictures then, they're not staged, I guess, then? So you go out and you kind of find objects that you work with, yes. Or is it a combination of the two?
No, it's really, I go outside and look for objects that I can use, because I don't want it to be like staged, because then you feel a little bit that it's overthought. So I have a direction, like what I want to do, and then I start searching for things I can use and do for my series. So it's not think about it in front. It's just walking around and seeing what I can do.
Okay. I was wondering also if you could explain your made-up word obscurances a bit more in depth, because I wrote down what it was. It was a remarkable experience unnoticed by all and unexplainable by one.
Yes.
That's how you defined it, right?
Yes.
Could you elaborate a bit on your definition?
Yes. For me, yeah, I really gonna sound cuckoo, but it's the truth. So when I'm walking around, I see things in shadows like forms, and I see like figures, or yeah, it's just my imagination, but I'm the only one that see them. And if I tell my friends, they see it, but otherwise they wouldn't see it. So for me, I have a really big imagination, and I wanted to bring that alive, what I see and what I feel. And it's like, I feel like it's a little bit my personal world that I want to share with you, but it's like things I see, and I experience, but the other ones doesn't experience and don't notice it. And it's the same with fear. You can be really in fear, and you can sitting in a crowd and nobody will notice, but in your own, you will feel it and you experience it. So it's not always visible through the others.
Yeah. Okay. Wow, that's really nice. And I feel like you were very successful in bringing
Thank you.
this to like with your pictures, because they, at least when I saw them first, they really told a story. Like there was really this character, and then but then also, yeah, it's about just coming across things and seeing them and then interpreting in their own, no, sorry, in your own way.
Yes.
Have you heard from people who saw your work that they interpreted it in another way than you had
Yeah,
expected, or?
for me, it was like humorous, like, oh, there's a hand, another thing. And everybody told me it was really scary. And I was like, for me, this is not scary. I have scarier things in my head than this. It was for me shocking that people really thought it was heavy and dark, because for me, it was fun. And it's our little funny things I see in real life, like, oh, you see that there and that there. And I was really shocked that they interpreted like dark and heavy. So that was interesting for me.
Yeah. Yeah, wow. Okay.
So
Um,
yeah, it's not dark.
no, maybe because the color was dark or something that
Yeah,
they thought
maybe it's a
that.
night, but that's, yeah, well, I was surprised to notice that.
Yeah. But so you never, because you said that you like to experiment and then create these unreal almost effects without using Photoshop, so you never edit your photos afterwards? Or
A little bit like contrast or stuff, but not anything else. So just
okay.
basic stuff, because I really like very strong contrast, but that's the only thing I do. So I don't add
Yeah.
anything afterwards or do anything away.
And this was a series that you made in 2019, you said.
Yes.
What are your current projects that you're working on?
I'm working on actually 2 different projects. I'm also working on a project about nature. I found it really funny, not funny, tragic funny, that people are throwing away food because it doesn't look pretty. So I'm working with that, and I'm reconstructing fruits and photographing them like little still lives to show the really absurdness about it, the craziness about the food industry. And it's also a really fun project to do. And I'm also working on a project about trees, because for me, trees are really something that inspires me, and I want to show how I look at that.
Okay. I'm looking forward to seeing them now.
Thank you.
Really. I remember in because I'm also from Belgium, that in some supermarkets we have like those crazy apples that you can buy, and they're like
Yeah,
a
yeah,
big bag of the crazy apples that other people wouldn't like, just because they
yes.
look a bit different. Yeah.
Yes, and it's that madness. I really want to work with it because it's, yeah, it's crazy, but it's really funny because I'm deconstructing for it and then reconstructing it to show it. And it's really funny.
All right. Is there somewhere where we can already get a glimpse of this, or do you still have to?
No, but I will put it if it's finished on my website.
Okay, sure. Okay, I'm looking forward to seeing it. Yeah. Well, thank you so much for this nice talk and for sharing your work with us. And we'll see you again after the other presentations for a group discussion.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, but now we can go to the next artist, which is Carlotta Guerra. Whoosh. Hi, Carlotta.
Hi, hello.
Sorry, I wasn't
nice to see you. Yeah, it was a surprise for me as well.
Yeah. How are you?
I'm good. And you?
Yeah, very good. I'm looking forward to seeing your pictures as well.
Well, thank you.
Your project is called Never Say Never.
Yes.
And it's about your journey from Belgium to the US on a cargo ship.
On a cargo ship, exactly.
All right.
Yes.
I won't say anything more. You can explain it to us in your presentation.
Okay.
So you can go ahead and share your screen.
Okay, hold on because it's gonna stop for a second.
Yeah.
And then it's gonna go like this. I'm getting there.
Don't worry. We can already look at the pictures behind you, so.
Okay, is it visible?
Yes, go ahead. The stage is yours.
So, hello everyone. My name is Carlotta Guerra, and I'm gonna share with you today some details of my project Never Say Never that has been selected by Helsinki Photo Festival this year for this edition Fearless, and I'm really honored and still very excited. I feel really close personally and intimate involved with the title of this edition, Fearless and Fear, and that is naturally the thing that my project refers to. Never Say Never. I'm going to start with the first photograph of the project. That for me is the front photograph of this project. Never Say Never relates and talks about something that I would have never thought I could do. In 2015, I embarked on this trip on a container ship across the Atlantic Ocean from Antwerp, Belgium, to Newark, New Jersey. The 10 years before of 2015, I had suffered by panic attacks. Panic attacks really controlled my life at that time. I could not fly. I could not travel. I could not do many things. I could not even go out of my place sometimes. So that was really difficult. And while I realized, and I could not fly at that time, I realized that I could take a boat trip, and it wasn't easy. It was very challenging, but I could do it. And I thought it was the moment to leap into an unexpected and unknown adventure, and to step my foot down against the fear and try to battle it and try to conquer it. So this is how it started. And the photographs, they're not naturally on this boat ride. I took millions of photographs because it was very unusual to me to be there, especially a container ship. And so I took a lot of photographs. But I wanted to select at the end in the editing process the ones that they're not a documentation about the boat, they're not a documentation about they're not a journal about the journey, but they document my feeling, my approach to the fear, and my fight against it. So I'm gonna show you like some photographs of the project, and taken, some are like more like views and some are more like details. This is like the very top of the boat, and is this like amazing white bright area is just above the bridge, where is the station where the boat is controlled and is driven, and is a pretty amazing place, because there is this giant contrast between this like very bright part and a very dark part that are like the chimney actually of the boats, that are gonna show it to you later. The trip was like 6 days long. It could be, well, we were told that it was going to be longer eventually, because there are like many details that could interfere or make the trip like shorter. It's the weather, of course, the condition, but also do not forget that this freighter ship, they have like a commercial purpose. So there is no, I mean, passengers, we were only 5 passengers. Passengers, they don't matter in a way on the boat ride. So the amazing thing was to be surrounded, this major feeling was to be surrounded by the sea, to be in the open sea for so many days, and to witness all the different conditions and during the different days. And sometimes it was like, there was this like almost void that was present in the landscape, and this endless idea of the environment surrounding us. This is a view of the stairways of inside the boat. What happened to me, it was like I felt there was a constant reference between the indoor and the outdoor, and the reference related to the colors sometimes, the shapes, and the light a lot. This to me was a view that I witnessed like every day, and this is one of the many photographs that I took, where the light hits the floor of the stairways in different spots with different shapes depending on the time of the day. So almost this blue of the stairway, it becomes almost like a sundial, almost a clock that was marking the passing of the days and the passing of the time. This is another photograph that to me relates a lot to the outside, and it's probably the blue pattern, but also the shapes and how the light hits this table. This was in the dining room. There were a lot like empty spaces in the boat. The boat was huge. It was like, I'm gonna go back to it for a second. The boat was huge, was like 400 meters long and 40 meters wide. And we were like 25 people on board, 20 of the crew and 5 passengers. And on the vessel, there were like a lot of spaces, a lot of rooms that were like empty, ready to be used in a perfect. It was almost like somebody just left, but they've been there for a long time at the same time. So this, for example, was a little swimming pool that was in the little gym room. The gym room was for the crew, the member of the crew, because they stay on the boat for like 6 months, and so, or longer, and so for them to exercise. And of course, it was another empty room with all the gears, the gym gears left in there, and this like empty little squared swimming pool. that was a very strong image to me. This is again the presence of the sea that, as you could see in the former photograph, sometimes was like really mysterious and almost even creepy sometimes, I would say, even if it was never a confrontational presence, like, I mean, psychologically, but also like in reality. I mean, the sea was always like not so bad, the condition of the sea, but it was also this ever present presence everywhere. I mean, through the structure of the boat, through the each holes. This is another shot from another from the officers' living room, tea room, and is the photographs that show obviously the bow of the boat and the mast. That is a quite foggy day, but you can still like barely see the mast. That is the reference for the captain to see where the boat ends, and so to control the size of the boat in a way. And you can see also all the containers. Another view of the sea during a different condition of the weather. It was mesmerizing. I mean, those views, those little details of the waves and their ripples around us, aside the boat, that the moving forward, the endless moving forward of the boat was creating. And again, to me, there was a reference between my bed and the wrinkles of it. This like blue that it was almost a horizon indoor, but also outdoor. And that's why, in a way, I want to compare these two photographs and to keep them together, put them close to each other, because this was a giant reference to me also in relation with the concept of fear and fearless. Another view, I put in this presentation also some photographs that are not, they were not on show at the Helsinki Photo Festival this year. This, for example, was not there. This is a side view of a part of the boat, and is really interesting because this sort of bridge, it kind of stretches out in the sea a lot. And it actually, as when you are on the vessel, you understand why the structure of the boat is built that way. This, for example, it gives you the possibility to look like straight forward down, like clearly at the side of the boat, where there are like doors, and let's see, almost at the sea level. And those doors, they allow people to come in certain special occasion. For example, when you get into the port, into the harbor, there are like people that come on the boat to guide you through the harbor. And so this is a very technical detail of how the boat is built and why. This is a view of the engine room. It's a detail, sorry, of the engine room, and this is the spot that commands this speed of the vessel, and yeah, is moving forward. You see, I did this selection about the blue. This is what I was talking before about. This is the other part of that white, bright, super bright deck that I show as the second photograph. So there was this like huge contrast to me. It was incredible getting up there. First of all, it was like incredibly windy, but there was this like very shiny view of the white deck and the sea, and then as a counterpart, those black arms, they were reaching up in a sort of weird way to me. This is an inside of the corridors. And that's my presentation. So oh, okay.
No worries.
Okay. Let me come back. Am I back? Yes.
Yeah. You can finish your sentence. What were you gonna say?
No, it was just like, so I just wanted to say that the project is obviously very personal, and it doesn't show a documentation of the boat, as I already stated. There was always this balance for me between the fear and the desire, the freedom of like going and choosing and my own path, and the independence and battling the fear of the unknown.
Yeah. Thank you so much. It was really like a story that you told.
Thank you.
And you took us you took us with you along on the trip.
Yeah.
Which I'm very grateful for. Thank you. I really liked how you said that your pictures, they're not just like the image on themselves, they always refer to something else, especially the one like with the floor with the light, how for you it's like the passing of the day. Because I'm really happy that I hear this now, because if you just see the pictures sometimes you kind of wonder what made this image so special for the artist, and then now knowing the story behind it, it's like, of course. Also, I really like to put the wrinkles of the bed. When I saw it first, I really like to put it next to the one of the sea, because for me they looked a bit similar, even though they were so different.
Yes.
Yeah.
I immediately saw, well, in a way, my eyes, even inside the boat, they were like driven by what was surrounding us, and what was surrounding us and me was also a reflection of what I felt inside, emotionally, psychologically. And so there was this constant reference between one thing to another. And the bed is also like is this intimate place where you are like by yourself. A lot of times you feel protected. I mean, that's how I feel, at least. I feel protected. I feel in my nest. And on the other side, there is the vastness of the ocean, and is waves, is wrinkles. So there is this opposition between these two things. But the bed is still like so blue, and so I don't know. I think I don't know, but at the moment I took the photograph, I think I tried to photograph it as something that could be endless too.
Yeah. How did you you made this selection of the pictures based on, were they the ones that maybe had the most these connections, or that were that you felt the most strong about, or why was it?
I really wanted to portrait my intimate and personal journey, because it was major to me. So I tried to select photographs that, to me, in my opinion, they could like attempt to translate this feeling, maybe either singularly or together. And the feeling was to me always a feeling of this contrast between like being frozen by the fear, being petrified, but there was the moving forward, that in a way I already chosen it. So there was not, I couldn't help it. It happened anyway, it was happening anyway. So that was like, there was a lot of, and there was a lot of that in my selection. There was also very intuitive way to probably show details that they always refer a little bit to an obstacle. I could see, I mean, if I have to analyze it, my own photographs, I see that there are obstacles. There are like weird details sometimes, or the atmosphere is a little weird. Yes, so the selection was like a giant part of the process, because again, as I said before, I was almost overwhelmed by this experience. So there was so much to see and so much to take photographs of that it became almost too much. And then the blue, I really wanted to stay on the blue shade.
Yeah. I wondered, so all your pictures, none of them were people. Did you make any pictures of people as well? Or was it really this kind of individual project of what you saw? And
Not, well, I did. They were more like, just like shots, like fun photographs,
yeah.
but nothing that I wanted to involve in this project. I felt even if I was traveling with my partner, and there were other three people as a passengers, also the crew, and during 6 days of traveling, you also get to know people, but as a matter of like this journey, I felt really I was battling it by myself, and it was not feeling alone, like not having human connection, but it was really my personal thing only. And yes, so
Yeah.
I decided not to for different reason, and because visually they didn't tell me what I wanted to say. I decided not to include any photographs of anybody.
Okay. Yeah. I could like ask you so many questions still, but sadly we're running out of time.
Okay.
But thank you so much, and I really hope that like afterwards we can still listen to a bit of your
Yes,
work.
I would love
Yeah,
it. Thank you for having me.
yeah. Thank you for joining us. Really. All right. So next up,
Yeah.
we're gonna go to Jooeun from Korea. Hi. How
Hey,
are you?
I'm good. Although it was like 1 a.m. in South Korea, I'm fast, yeah.
Yeah. Thank you so much for taking the time to do this. Your work is one of the is it's been very well received here in Helsinki. It really catches the eye. I'm also a big fan of you now. So yeah, it's called Colorful Scissors, and it's a series of collages, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, right. If you want, you can share your presentation, and then you can get started.
Okay. Okay. Can you guys see it?
Yes, thank
Okay.
you. Go ahead.
Okay. I'm Jooeun. I'm from South Korea, and I'm a photographer that works with the medium of collage. And I will give you guys a little bit of a history of myself, just so that you guys can understand this project a little bit better. So as you guys can see, I'm a little bit tired, like is Korea in here, but before I lived in America for like 10 years. When I was at the age of 16, I moved to America all by myself to study, and I lived there for 10 years. And the last year of the decade, I moved to New York City to study photography. I attended ICP, International Center of Photography, and after graduating from ICP, I moved back to Korea. And after coming back from New York City, studying photography, it really made me feel like I had to get a job. So I started working as an assistant photographer in the studio in Seoul. And but the whole studio was so much about commercial, which I love. I still love it, but um I guess because it was so much about commercial, I was able to learn so much about technical aspect of photography, and from like the Photoshop, the editing and lighting and all that stuff. But it was a good learning process for as a short term, but it was also a good experience for me to be there, because I learned that commercial photography isn't really so much a field that I wanted it to be as a photographer. So then I started coming out as a freelancing photographer since 2020. And so since I became a freelancing photographer and also the photographer that works with the medium of collage, I really wanted to get to know the medium even better. So I started to work on this daily practice on collage. And so I used this, from archival images to my own images. Then I also did, digital manipulation to manual collage. I did all kinds of, collage method. Also, everything was very spontaneous process. Although it was very intuitive working and very spontaneous process, a lot of things, thoughts were going in my head. And then a lot of things dawned on me, especially, these three main events that led me to the medium of a collage. And that's what this Color for Scissors project is about. And as you guys can see on the screen, Color for Scissors is the handmade project, weaves the likeness of a collage and my experiences through the cut and paste method. I'll just go through the image and then I will just keep talking about the project. So in 2014 summer, my family and I discovered that my mom was diagnosed with the skin cancer on her face. And 2 days before my mom's surgery, I had to go back to America to continue my education. Because I couldn't be here in Korea physically when my mom was going through this surgery, it got me really such a fear of a surgery because I couldn't be here, and then I was really scared of how this whole surgery was going to go. Fortunately, the whole process of surgery went well. And then we had the winter break. Then I was able to come back to visit my mom to South Korea. By the time my mom was going through this pretty tough chemotherapy, and I could see that, she was physically and emotionally, she was getting weaker. But at the same time, she was only getting, healthier through this operation and the chemotherapy as well. And then last year, fall, in October, I had to get the surgery as well to get rid of the cyst for the first time. I really thought I would be really afraid of this surgery. But by witnessing my mom's healing process, it got me really thinking that it was only for the better. So obviously the surgery went well as well. Now my mom and I are all good now. But after, experiencing this surgery indirectly and directly, I realized that, the procedure of collage and the procedure of operation were very similar to each other. As a collage maker, I do sketch how I want this collage piece is going to, finished. But even if I start based on my sketch, a lot of times, the final result will look different from my sketch. Just like that, the surgeons can't really know. They will do their best, but they can't really know the, results of it. And also, to start the collage, I work with this main ingredient of collage, which is paper. I feel like the paper is very weak, so that, that's why I can use the paper in a way that I can just collage in collage the way I want it, wherever I want it. And also, it's like the very weak, how I think that I see the resemblance of the patient's feeble body to a weak paper as well. And then also I have to cut the images following the lines of the subject very carefully and delicately, since it's like the paper. And I guess the surgeons have to do the same thing, and when they start the surgeries as well. Then after the cutting all the fragments, I rearranged in the best way possible. Then to stitch them up together, I used the glue and the tape and, the stitch apart, like you can see on the screen too. Just like the surgeons use their own medical glue, tape, and stitching method to, to close up the wound. And so as a result, after the whole process of collage, it gives us the new art piece, whereas the result of surgery gives you this cure as a gift. So after experiencing this surgery indirectly and directly, it really gave me better understanding of the whole procedure of collage. And as a little kid, when I was in kindergarten, a few of my family members lived in Japan, and we visited them a lot. And Japan is another Asian country like South Korea. There were so many things that really grabbed my attention, especially the Japanese origami paper. I was so fascinated how diverse, this Japanese colored papers have different, very various, patterns and textures and the colors of the origami papers. And so every time I came back home from Japan, I would just fill my backpack with all types of origami papers. And then when I came home, I would just start making things just because I wanted it to. And then also, like I said earlier, paper is so flexible and weak that it really allows me to create just endless things with my hands. And so as a photographer now, I photograph the things that I want to use as an origami paper. Then I will print them. Then I will cut and paste and stick them together in a way that I just wanted. And I love that so the fascination of the origami paper now, it serves as me as a photographer. I just decide to what I want to take photograph of, which is the surface of origami paper, and then that's how I work my collage pieces. And lastly, when I told you guys in the brief introduction of myself, me as a Korean girl, I lived in America for 10 years all by myself. I was pretty young, so I was growing up. Like, it was actually my first time living in such, Western country. And I didn't know much about their cultures and language. I just really started there when I arrived in America. So everything was so new. And I think, but also because I didn't know so much about America, it really allowed me to digest and adopt all these new things from America, very just without a sense of any difference. So, but I had this base of, the me being from South Korea. So all this, although, the time and the culture, everything in Korea were so different from the phase where I lived in America, everything were just so harmonizing so well in me, which formed who I am now. And that's exactly what collage is about. The collage is, when I work on the collage pieces, I cut all the things from all this type of resources and the places. They're never from the same places, and that's why I love about the collage too. But then when I put them as a collage maker, when I put them together, although they're all from the same different places, they become this a whole art new collage piece. And when they're all together, they all of a sudden create this new lines of dialogues, and there's a new energy and synergy that they did not have before on their own. But now as a whole collage piece, now they have this whole new power and an energy that we see from this collage piece. And so me living in America as a Korean girl, I was definitely able to feel this energy creating when this all different fragments are put together. So that's basically what colorful scissors is about. And this is the last image of the colorful scissors. And thank you for listening for my presentation.
Hi, yeah, thank you so much for your presentation.
No problem.
It seems that the medium of collage describes you very well, in so many different ways. It refers to things that you experienced or things that you felt.
Right.
When did you start doing collage? It was pretty recent then still?
Yes. But when I was in college, I majored in fine arts, and I was more of a painter and graphic designer, and not so much with the painting, but with the graphic design. I had to lay out all these different sources. Even if it's text, like geometric shapes, it's all about layering this all different types of shapes and text, which I think is sort of a collage. And I think that's where I got this whole collage type for photography now.
Yeah. And just to, I think you mentioned this in your presentation, but just to confirm, so it's all manual? You don't use graphic design to make them?
I do. I mean, there is a project that is all about digital manipulation, but for this color procedures, they're all handmade collages.
Wow. Okay. And how long does it take to make one?
It really depends. I mean, I always start from the ideas and the sketches. Sometimes, it just goes how I imagined it initially, and when that happens, it just happens really fast. Although it's very handy and crafty process, it can go fast. But sometimes, even if I had a really great idea, sometimes it just doesn't come out the way I wanted, and um, that can be sometimes a good accident, but other times could be, I have to restart, and that's when it takes longer than usual. But I mean, from that accident too, I learned more of a new techniques as well.
I was just wondering why you were describing this now. Do you sometimes get frustrated and kind of crumple up the paper when it doesn't work the way that you want to, or can you keep like your calm while you're
Oh,
crafting?
absolutely. The whole, people say that a lot of times, like, don't you get frustrated? I mean, sometimes I do, but a lot of times to me, this handcrafting, this collage is very meditating. Somehow it's really just calming and relaxing. So it's all good.
Yeah. Okay. Good. And the pictures that you use, are they always self-made? So you use the paper and then the pictures sometimes. Are the pictures the ones that you took, or are they things that you found somewhere, or?
So for Call of Caesar, these are all made out of my own images. So I just took the photos of the ingredients for my collage pieces, and then I will print out, and then I will just handcraft the collage.
Yeah. Okay. But you have other collage projects as well, right? Next to Color Scissors?
Oh yeah, I think every project that I made is all collage
Ah,
method.
really?
Yeah.
Okay. So after you graduated, you had your commercial job, but then you immediately started getting into collage. It's not that you first did some other projects, or?
Um, I already was using photography with the collage when I was at ICP. Then um, coming back to Korea, I got this commercial job, but that didn't really let me, discover what I could do with the collage. They had like so many rules and stuff, and I learned a lot actually, but it wasn't really so much of a place that I could stay for a long time.
Yeah.
Mm.
Um, yeah, I find your work very beautiful to look at, really.
Yes.
Is
Yeah.
that something what are the things that people use to describe your work? Like, how do people see it themselves?
I got the word surrealism a lot because I think people get that. I also get that too, where like people see that from, because I take the photo from the reality, but then throughout this collage method, I make something that is not real anymore, which is surrealism. So that's the very common word that I get from the people.
Yeah.
Mm.
And you're also on the cover of our magazine this year.
I'm very
Or, yeah.
excited.
What did your mother feel about this? Is she happy that her face
Yeah,
is on?
definitely happy. I mean, when the picture, the title of the picture is "Now She's Fine," and I showed her, the whole presentation of outdoor exhibition in Helsinki. She was very happy, and then she was like, "Oh, I'm sad that I can't be there," But then I figured that the cover of the Helsinki of 2021 was selected on her image, and she was like, "Oh, I don't have to go there anymore. This is very good enough." So
Oh, that's so nice to hear.
yeah.
Well, thank you so much for your presentation. I hope the other artists can ask you some questions after our final presentation of the night. And we're going to that one now. And that's Andrei Liankevich from Belarus. Hi,
Hey, they hear me?
how are you?
Yeah.
Thank you for joining us today in this photo talk. So for the people who were the people who've been watching, you weren't there in the beginning, but I'll introduce you maybe shortly. So you're Andrei Liankevich, you're from Belarus, and your project is called Process Belarus. I'll let you talk about the rest because I think you're the best one at that. So you can share your presentation and then you can get started if you want to.
Okay, so do you hear me well?
You can put it full screen.
Yeah.
Yes.
Just 1 second. I'm here. Okay. I'm sorry, but my presentation will be somehow political. Less photography, less art, less speaking about the process of making the pictures, but it's more about conditions, how photographers doing their jobs, because I'm part of Photojournalist Society of Belarus.
Sorry to interrupt you, but it's very hard to understand what you're saying. Maybe if there's something that covering your microphone or...
And now, is it better now?
A little bit, yes, but it's a little bit quiet maybe.
Okay, so maybe I will speak louder. Is it okay now?
Yes. Yeah, now it's good. Thank you.
Okay, we'll start again. Sorry for technical problems. Yeah, it's a little bit crazy day. Because I'm now on another photo festival and have to drive and blah, blah, blah. So, sorry, my presentation will be more political, less photography, less speaking about how the art is produced, but more about conditions, how photographers work. Because I'm part of Photojournalistic Society of Belarus. And, 1 year ago, as you see now, around 1 million people, which is 10% of the population of the country, go into the street because we have, let's say, authoritarian regime, and we really had a hope we will have changes, and of course it was a big hope to change situation in better way, to make it democratic, to finally to rule the country by ourselves. And I was among photojournalists who was covering this 2-3 months at the beginning. But also this is the story that I was a more citizen than a photographer. So I was part of these people on the streets and these beautiful ladies. And here you can see some really terrible, let's say, numbers that my colleagues, they spent 1,200 days in the prison within last year just because of doing their job. And most of them have to emigrate now. So they're in exile in Poland, in Baltic states, in Ukraine. My colleagues were shot. This is young lady. She was shot from 10 meters by special police troop. And you see that our colleague from the left, Alexander Vachukovich, who was later arrested, and here is pictures documenting the court, how it was going now in Belarus. So you're not ever leaving the prison to be in the court. So it's made by new technology. So it's somehow new technologies can serve breaking the law really in direct way. And also I'm part of Month of Photography Photo Festival. More or less I'm head of the team. And for us it was very difficult a year ago to make a photo festival. And this picture is made by myself. And this, let's say, picture very close to Christian iconic picture of Jesus Christ. But of course, made in different circumstances. And this is member of the team, so we lost 30% of our team being arrested and spent their days in the prison because of being on the street, because of protesting, because of participating in women marches, like here. And also we set up, we just picked a new tradition uh, that we really meet our friends from the prison with such kind of cakes, you see, with a picture on it, showing them how they brave, how they great, how we support them. And now closer to the pictures that are presented during photo festival in Helsinki. It's mostly black and white pictures showing first 3 months of protest, so it means August, September, and October 2020. Um, it's very difficult for me to speak about the pictures, what you can see on them, but I think it was huge peaceful protest when really all social parts of the society came onto the streets. And here you can see the picture with a lady. She's a really famous model in Belarus, but I didn't know, of course, at the moment when I made the picture. And she called the poster where it's written that the freedom is alive, which is, you see, with the help of rain disappearing somehow. And this is a picture of the woman. I, this mother who is waiting for the son from the prison, and you see the fence of the prison. In first 3 days of the protest, around 20,000 people was arrested, and it was a mess. People was killed, people disappeared, so nobody knows where to find your friends, children, parents, neighbors. So a lot of people just was standing next to the walls and crying because of have no idea what to do. So it was really terrible moment. And for me as a photojournalist, it was quite difficult to make this picture because this terrible clicking in a terrible silence, which breaks the atmosphere. So this is for me like breaking the feelings of this lady. Also, this picture is a part of women protest because first weeks, special police have no idea what to do with a woman on the street. So they were not arrested. So they organized everyday women march, participating together with children. And this march was first march who was completely destroyed by special police. Here you can see a guys in uniform, completely with hidden faces, because they really know that they're breaking the law. They really know they're doing something disgusting. And also look on the uniform, they have no any names, any numbers, nothing. So you cannot really identify what kind of troops is this. Is it police, is it army, is it special police troops? And they're facing the lady with the child. So yeah. And also this is crucial moment when the ladies uh, was put into the trucks, beaten, and most of them spent 15, 30 days in the prison. But what is super important for me, and also for Belarus and for the protest, they were peaceful. You see, it's only flowers in their hands. They did not throw stones, make fire, nothing. So it was maybe the first time in world history so such kind of peaceful protest against mass criminal police activity. And here you can see the grave, because this is a place where the first person was killed by special police troops. And next day, 100 people came into this place. They bring flowers. You see this place just down on this picture, just to give their time, their flowers, their support to the family of this person. And you see people were standing on the roofs because there was not enough real space. And after special police came and with gas, with shooting, and so on, so people have to run away, not to be killed, not to be arrested. And this place never exists anymore because the flowers was just thrown away into the uh, into the forest. And also, just imagine that if you would like to put a flower in this place at the moment, you will be immediately arrested and you will get like 15, 30 days of imprisonment. So, and maybe here just a small information how you can support my colleagues or just people over here, but by transferring money, by maybe inviting them to make an exhibition and so on, because most of the artists have to leave the country because of their civil position. Yeah, it's more or less the end of my presentation, and maybe what is very important to add, because I have made a career in doing photojournalistic photography, more or less, but doing these pictures and facing cruelty and facing a really death in the front of your face, I became a part of the process. So I participated in in the rallies. So this was for me also breaking the rules, ethical rules of photojournalism, but being honest with myself. Yeah.
Yeah, thank you very much. It's probably very brave and fearless of you to share all of this with us. I was so yeah, we're talking about that you're openly taking like sides and you're very subjective about the project and the protests. How does that make you feel? Are you? Is it like it's probably a bit dangerous, or?
Yeah, it's somehow dangerous. Special police was in my apartment a month ago. I also was taken into the police, so that's why at the moment I left the country, I'm in Poland now, together with my family, with my dog. But I'm coming back in a few weeks because there is no process against me. So it means more or less I'm not gonna to go into the prison. Yeah, of course it's brave, but working as a photojournalist, you're always on the edge. You're always on the border between two sides. Yeah, but in these special circumstances, when my friends are in prison, when my relatives are in prison, when a lot of my friends have to leave the country, when I cannot do my job because it's forbidden to be a photojournalist at the moment in Belarus. So, of course, I have this freedom, and I'm taking this responsibility not to take not to take any more ethical code of photojournalism, of journalism at all. Yeah,
Yeah.
it's a big discussion for last years. All journalists are subjective, objective, but in practical situation like this, you have a really clear and simple answer.
Yeah, it's just too important to show what's going on. Yeah.
Of course, of course.
How do the protesters react when you are photographing? Are they happy that somebody's trying to like represent what is happening, or?
It was amazing, and several times I was crying during the protest because just imagine several hundred people who is shouting "thank you" to you because they know how brave you are and you how brave they are. Because, for example, first 3 days after the election in August 2020, we have no internet connection in Belarus at all. So the whole country was switched off. So that's why it was absolutely impossible, to transmit pictures. So yeah, we were looking for some possibilities. And also later during the protest, it was no internet in the country. So that's why people really appreciate it. And it's very, in digital age, it's very difficult to get this direct reaction from your public. But, during the protest, you were getting immediate reaction. So this was amazing. And it's very difficult to ever explain it. Just, yeah, can you imagine like hundreds of thousands of people going and, you're just hearing, yeah, thank you, thank you, thank you. But from
Yeah.
another hand, our photographs became evidences. Evidences from one hand, evidences of crime, but from another hand, evidences of people who are participating in the rallies. So police use it to identify the people, to put them into the prison. So that's why later we have to delete most of the pictures from internet, where you can identify the faces. Yeah, and also be really careful in public presentation of the photos, because you can do something really harmful for the people.
Yeah. Oh, wow. Okay. Yeah, that's something very important to consider as well.
Yeah,
Yeah. Oh, thank you very much for sharing this.
yeah. Thank you.
I think it's a very important message to spread. And I would like to invite the other artists back to the stage now. And if you have any questions for each other, fire away. Now is the time to interact if you want to.
Okay,
I
can I ask
re-
Jen? Yeah,
no,
Jen
go
Barry?
ahead. Go ahead.
Because I just wanted to ask about your collages. You told that you always make the pictures for your collages by yourself,
Mm-hmm.
but do you choose like specific topics for specific collage? So it's like, okay, I have to photograph, I don't know, animals or my parents or my family, uh, auto portrait for this collage. So how did you choose?
Like, how do I choose which ingredients to work with? Um, yeah, that is all the process that I have to put in because it's like how I did it with the color procedures really is that I told you guys that I start as with the sketch. Um, then I figure out which item that I actually need to have. Then I will photograph those each items. Then I will sort of, I guess it's kind of cheating, but I do a little bit of like Photoshop and like sort of arrange them in a way that I based on my sketch. Then I will print all these ingredients, and then I will remake this sketch with my hands, if that makes sense. That's how I figure which ingredients to photograph to use them for my collage pieces.
Okay, thank you.
Mhm.
Um, Carlotta and Charlotte, do you have questions for each other? Because I feel like your works were a bit like thematically similar. It was both about anxiety and panic attacks, and then kind of using photography maybe to deal with that.
I actually have a question for Carlotta.
Yeah,
Uh,
sure.
so the project that you were showing, was it all from this one trip of the boats, or was it several boat trips?
No, it is all from one trip
Oh, then
that I
have you
made.
ever had like other boat trips before, or was
No,
it
I
just
haven't.
specific? Oh, okay.
And I haven't. And the interesting thing would be, well, right now I haven't had panic attacks any longer. I mean, after that trip was sort of like a major thing where like many things like changed. So it was funny because I was supposed to go back to Europe in the same way with a boat, and then the adventure became bigger. I wanted to stay in the U.S. longer, and so I decided I was gonna like take the chance and try to fly, and that was like it was like a major thing for me because for 10 years I didn't do it, and so I went back flying, and and then so that was a big change for me. So I keep on thinking how it would be to take another trip, maybe the same trip, maybe to another destination. I also those freighter ship, they well, of course they travel all over the world, but they also take passengers sometimes all over the world. Basically, you can be on board for like months, and I mean a lot of artists did it. So I keep on thinking it would be interesting to do it again and to see how my view has changed. Yeah, and how the photograph will change. Yeah, but I felt that I want to say, Evelyn, that I was I was surprised and I mean amazed by also hearing this and seeing the photographs of Charlotte and to see how I don't know if I'm correct me if I'm wrong, Charlotte, that it well, it feels to me when I take photographs, when I used to, well, when I take photographs now, but also photography also helped me a lot at that time. It was a way for me to control something. It was a way for me to be present in that moment, while everything was really I was frazzled a lot of times, you know, because I was scared, and so photography helped me like really to feel grounded and to control a few things in my life, and so I almost felt that I felt a connection about this with you, Charlotte. Even if you go for photographs, you don't stage them and you don't control them, and it almost feels that it helps you to face it, to deal it, to
Charlotte, you're muted.
I'm sorry.
No, okay.
I didn't notice. For me, it was more unconscious because I realized it more afterwards that it helped me. It was not conscious to do it before that, but I felt that just creating and putting your mind to it always helps. So yeah, it was not a conscious choice, but it did help, yes.
Yeah.
So yeah, but it was, for me, I don't know how to say it. For me, fear is not like this bad thing that I need to process or something. It's something I embrace. So for me, it's not that I have to make art to go with the fear, but I use it to make things. I embrace it, if that makes sense.
Yes, I think it does. Oh, well.
All right, I'm sorry, but I'm going to. Yeah, sorry, Charlotte. You can finish your sentence.
No, it's okay.
Because we're running out of time. It was very nice to see all of these projects, to hear more about them, especially having seen the pictures around so many times. I like that now we get these like behind the scenes like insights about them. So thank you very much for joining us. Our festival is coming to an end. It's 1 week that we're still running. There's still all of the exhibitions except the ones in Kauniainen and the Uima Stadium. Those we had already had to break down, but the other ones are still open. So if people in Helsinki are watching this, you should go visit. If people want a magazine, they can come get it in our gallery. It's at Kasarmikatu, or they can send us a message and we can try to figure something out because it's really worth it as well. So I wish you guys a very nice evening still. Also a very nice night for in South Korea. Thank you so much, and I hope we can stay updated on your coming projects.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye.